Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss an very important theorem from linear algebra, that is Cayley-Hamilton theorem. So Cayley was a scientist, a well-known scientist, and who came up with this theorem. And the theorem was really interesting, is basically interesting. So the theorem states that every square matrix satisfies its own characteristic equation. Now, as we have already studied what is a characteristic equation, so just let me give one example. So in the last class, we have found out characteristic equation of one matrix, and this was a characteristic equation, right? X cube minus 6x square plus 3x plus 10 is equal to 0. So what did Cayley say is that whatever this characteristic equation is there, that equation satisfies matrix A. So remember, it says that every square matrix satisfies its own characteristic equation. इसका मतलब है कि हर एक जो स्क्वायर मैट्रिक्स है वो खुद का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक इक्वेशन सेटिस्फाई करता है. खुद का इन द सेंस, डोंट टेक एनी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक इक्वेशन. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो ओवर हियर व्हाट इज आवर A? This is the matrix A. So therefore this matrix is going to satisfy its own characteristic equation. And what is its characteristic equation? It is this: x cube minus 6x square plus 3x plus 10. So what is the meaning of it? It means that your A is going to satisfy means what? Just replace x by A. So A cube minus 6a square plus 3a plus, now what about this? It is 10i. Not you attach I to the constant term. A lot of students make mistake over here. And if you calculate this, now you are already having A matrix, so find A cube. You can find A square also, and simply put the value of A cube, A square, A in this equation, and if you do calculations, you will find that you will get a zero matrix. So whatever this 0 is there, remember this is a 0 matrix on the right hand side, and this 0 matrix has the order same as what? The order of A. So I hope you got my point, what I wanted to point out. Now let us see the statement. Here we go. So every square matrix satisfies its own characteristic equation. So if you write the statement in little bit detail, so if A is a square matrix of order n, and this f of x to the power n plus cn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus so on plus c1x plus c0 is the characteristic polynomial of A, then what will happen is this f of A. Now what will be my f of A? It will be a to the power n so on up to c0 I, and the value of this is going to be equal to what? 0. So now we are going to prove it. So first of all, I will write down the given things. I will say let A be a square matrix of order n, and f of x is equal to this, be a characteristic polynomial of A. But remember, how do we get characteristic polynomial of A? We get by finding the determinant, but determinant of which matrix? It is xi minus A. So that is what I will write over here. Yes, so this is my given thing. So see what I have written here, f of x is equal to determinant of xi minus A is equal to, actually this is our characteristic polynomial of A, and what we have to show, f of A is equal to 0, that is nothing but this. Now we are going to recall one result in order to prove it, and that result is related to what? A inverse. So if you recall, what is the formula of A inverse? 1 upon determinant of A multiplied by adjoint of A, multiply by A from both sides. So if you multiply by A, what you are going to get? A inverse will be equal to what? A into adjoint of A upon determinant of A, and if you solve it, now this will be I. So I will be equal to A into adjoint of A upon determinant of A, and you simply shift this determinant on the left hand side. So determinant of A multiplied by I will be what? A multiplied by adjoint of A. Now this formula holds for any square matrix A. Determinant of A multiplied by I is equal to A multiplied by adjoint of A. So that is what I have written here. So we know this formula. Only the notation used is B now in this case. That is determinant of B multiplied by I is equal to B into adjoint of B. Note this is true for any square matrix B. Now what I will do is I will put B is equal to xi minus A. First let me erase this. So what I will do, I will put B is equal to xi minus A. So what you are going to get? Determinant of xi minus A multiplied by I will be equal to B, but I am putting B as what? So xi minus A multiplied by adjoint of xi minus A. Okay, but as you already know the value of determinant of xi minus A, that is from 1, this is the value, right? So this value can be used that. So therefore what you will get? X to the power n plus cn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1, this will be continued, plus c1x plus c0, outside it is I, which will be further equal to xi minus A multiplied by adjoint of xi minus A. Now we have to focus on this adjoint of xi minus A. Now let me take one example, then we will understand. So here note we are finding adjoint of which matrix? Adjoint of xi minus A. So let us go to the last example in order to explain. So this is that example A. This was our xi minus A. Now we are supposed to find adjoint of this matrix. So you already know how to find adjoint of this matrix. Okay, so we are supposed to find what? Cofactors. So cofactors are nothing but what? Cij is equal to minus 1 raised to I plus j and determinant of aij, where aij are minors. So in order to find minors, how do we find the minors? If we go for a11, so it is determinant of what? Delete first row and first column. So you can see you will get a polynomial of degree 2 over here. That is easy to understand, because if you delete this first row and first column, so you are going to solve this determinant and you will get a quadratic equation. So degree 2 will be there. If you go for a12, so a12 means you are going to delete first row and second column. So you can see only one term of x is involved. So over here you are going to get a polynomial of degree 1 in this case. And if you go for a13, you will get a polynomial of degree 2. If you go for a21, similarly you can check. For a21, I guess no, for a13 this is first row, no, first row and last column, so you will get polynomial of degree 1 for a13. Yeah, what about a21? So for a21, this second row and first column, so it will be a polynomial of degree 1. For a22, it will be a polynomial of degree 2. For a23, it will be a polynomial of degree 1. For a31, it will be a polynomial of third row first column, so degree 1. a32, it will be a polynomial of degree third row second column, I guess 1. And for a33, it is going to be a polynomial of degree 2 once again, right? So I wanted to point out is that we are not going to find adjoint of xi minus a over here. So just I want to point out, now when you find the cofactors, what will happen? These are the polynomials, so cofactors are also going to be a polynomials naturally, right? So I am interested only in degree of polynomials. So the degree of polynomials of the cofactor matrices, so basically cofactor matrices are going to be polynomials, and degree of those polynomials is going to be either 1 or 2. So for example, if I have to write the matrix of cofactors, that is nothing but adjoint of xi minus a will be matrix of cofactors of the matrix xi minus a, and it will be polynomials of degree 2. Let me say, for example, x square plus x plus 1. This is simply an example for understanding. Over here it may be some x square plus x, over here it may be x square plus 1, and over here it may be some x plus 1, some x minus 1, some x plus 3, let me say some x plus 9, x plus 7 upon 2, and some x plus 6. So see, how can I write this matrix now? So this matrix can be written as, I will erase it first of all. Yeah, so this can be written as, so see, terms of x square. So I'll take terms of x square out, and what are the coefficients of x square? So in this term, the a11 term of the matrix, coefficient of x square is 1. So in a12 there is no term of x square, so it's 0. Similarly over here 0, 0, over here it is 1, 0, 0, 0 and 1. I hope you are getting what I am doing. Plus x now, the terms of x. So let me write it 2x over here, and over here 5x, and over here some 9. Okay, okay. So now you take x out, and what will be left out inside? So okay, I will write it on this side, x square. Still it is fine, right? One and the same. And I'll write x on this side. So what are the coefficients of x2? Maybe 1, 1, 1. Over here it is 5, over here it is 1, 1, 1 and 0. Plus, and the last one is left out, the constant matrix, which is going to be 1, 1, minus 1. All the constant terms we are going to pick: 3, 0, 9, 7 upon 2, 6 and 9. So I hope you are getting my point. Now the order of the matrix was 3. So therefore we got the terms of adjoint of xi minus a as polynomials of degree at most 2. Is that okay? But if you are having a matrix of order n, so you are going to get entries of adjoint of xi minus a as polynomials having degree at most n minus 1, because in case of degree 3 we go up to polynomials of degree 2. So whenever you are having a matrix of order n, we will go up to polynomials having degree at most n minus 1. I hope you are getting my point, and therefore you can write this adjoint of xi minus a in this form. That is what we have done, right? So I will call this as some matrix. Let me call it as some b2. I will call some this matrix as b1, and I will call this matrix as b0. So actually how we have written this adjoint of xi minus a, we have written it as b2x square plus b1x plus what? b0, where this b2, b1 and b0 are real matrices of order. What is the order? It is 3. So it is same as order of A. Right? Now this is the case for matrix of order 3. So if you are having a matrix of order n, so what we are going to start with? Over here we are getting b2x square. So we are starting from x square. So if we are having a matrix of order n, then we will start with x to the power n minus 1. Right? So in that case your adjoint of xi minus a can be written as bn minus 1, I will write it somewhere, bn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1, and this will be continued up to b0, where this b0 up to bn minus 1 will be square matrices of order n, because a is of order n. Is that fine? So let us write it then. So I will erase it out first of all. So here we are. In particular we have substituted b is equal to xi minus a, and this value we have substituted from what? This 1, that is the value of determinant of xi minus a. Then thereafter, now I am calling it as 2. Now in the next step, note this matrix adjoint of xi minus a has entries as polynomials in x having degree at most n minus 1. Just I have explained you. Therefore you can write adjoint of xi minus a in this form, and I am calling it as 3. Now we are going to use this value of 3 in 2. Now once you use 3 in 2, what will happen? Okay, So your left hand side is x raised to n plus cn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus next is cn minus 2 x raised to n minus 2. This will be continued plus c1x plus c naught. Outside it is I, which is equal to xi minus a, and this adjoint of xi minus a is nothing but bn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus bn minus 2 x raised to n minus 2 plus so on plus b1x plus b naught. Okay, where this bi as square matrices, real, in fact real square matrices of order n. Now we are supposed to take the product simply, so I'll put it I inside, so it will be x raised to ni. Now this is a matrix, so which is this matrix? You are having some I and you are multiplying it by x raised to n, so it is x raised to n, x raised to n diagonally, and so on, x raised to n. I hope you are getting it. So plus cn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 I once again plus cn minus 2 x raised to n minus 2 I, this is continued, plus c1x I plus c naught I. Now each term is a matrix in this case. Okay, note this. This was also a matrix obviously on the left hand side, but what we have done actually, the meaning over here is, if I take it like this, then you'll understand. This is the identity matrix. I will take example of 3 by 3 matrix, and बाहर एक outside there was a polynomial. So बाहर एक polynomial था, so जिसकी degree will be 3 in 3 by 3 case. So x cube plus x square plus x plus 1. I'll take it somewhat like this. It was somewhat like this. Okay, and what we have done now, we have represented this matrix as x cube now I plus x square I plus xi and plus I. That is what I have done here. Okay, fine. Now we have to take the product of the right hand side also. So let me write it here. So first of all, I will multiply this xi with this. So what you will get? The term will be bn minus 1 x raised to n. Now I will multiply this a with this term, so we will get minus a bn minus 1 x raised to n minus 1. Now this xi with this term, so it will be plus bn minus 2 x raised to n minus 1. X is also there, I guess. Yeah, but over here power of x is n minus 2, and here I have written n minus 1, so one power will be reduced due to this x. Now next will be, I will multiply a with bn minus 2 x raised to n minus 2, so it will be plus a minus a bn minus 2 x raised to n minus 2, and this will be continued. So next term will be plus and so on. And now I will multiply this xi with this b1x, so what you will get? It will be plus b1x square, and now a with this b1x, so it will be minus a b1x, and now this xi with this constant b, so it will be plus b naught x, I guess, and at last this a with this b naught, and it will be minus a b naught. So this is our right hand side. Now I will simplify it a bit. So how can you simplify it? Now there is only one term of x raised to n, so I will write it as it is. Now we are going to combine the terms together having degree n minus 1. So you can see there are two terms, this one and this one. So I will write it bn minus 2 over here, and minus a bn minus 1, and outside it will be x raised to n minus 1. I hope you are getting it. Plus, can you guess the next term? Next term will be b n minus 3. Just reduce it by 1. So bn minus 3 minus, and it will be a bn minus 2, and over here it will be x raised to n minus 2. This will be continued so on, plus what you will get here now. So what will be the coefficient of x? So coefficient of x we are going to get from these two terms. So it will be b naught minus a b1, it will be x, and at last you will left with minus a b naught. So this is about the product on the right hand side. Now what we have to do is we have to compare this left hand side with what? The right hand side. Okay, all the coefficients we have to compare. Just I will take little bit down so that I will get some space to work with. So let us compare. So after comparison, what we are going to get? So just observe the coefficient of x raised to n is I on this side. What is the coefficient of x raised to n? Over here it is bn minus 1. So our first equation is I is equal to bn minus 1. Next, over here the coefficient of x raised to n minus 1 is cn minus 1 I. So cn minus 1 I will be equal to, and over here the coefficient of x raised to n minus 1 is bn minus 2 minus a bn minus 1. Next, this is the second equation we got. Next one will be, this is the coefficient of x raised to n minus 2. So over here cn minus 1 I, which is equal to, and the coefficient of x raised to n minus 2 on the right hand side is this. Now this will be continued and so on. So what will be coefficient of, no, what will be the last second equation? So we are going to compare the coefficients of x. So over here it is c1i. So c1i will be equal to b naught minus a b1 it is, I guess, and our last equation is going to be I is equal to minus a b naught. So I'll call it as some 4. This is my 5, this is my 6, and this is my 7, and this is my 8. Now see what is the point. See what we have to prove actually. We have to prove that f of a is equal to 0. F of a is equal to 0 means what? A raised to n plus cn minus 1 a raised to n minus 1 plus so on c1a plus c naught I is equal to 0. So now see these equations starting from 4, 5 and so on. So the first term is a raised to n. I am talking about this equation. So I want a raised to n in picture. So in order to bring that a raised to n in picture, what I will do is I will multiply fourth equation by a raised to n. So just focus on the left hand side. So from the left hand side you are going to get terms of that f of a, I mean a raised to n, then cn minus 1 a raised to n minus 1 and so on. So therefore I will multiply fourth equation by a raised to n. Now what is our second term? Our second term is cn minus 1 a raised to n minus 1. Now if you see our fifth equation, so we are already having cn minus 1. So what we are supposed to multiply it in order to get cn minus 1 multiplied by a raised to n minus 1. So we are supposed to multiply this fifth equation by what? A raised to n minus 1. So that we will get cn minus 1 a raised to n minus 1. And this I will not create any problem because I multiplied by a raised to n minus 1 will be again a raised to n minus 1, right? And what about this? We are going to, oh, there is a mistake over here. It should be n minus 2, right? Let me see it. Yeah, it should be n minus 2. So I will multiply it by what? A raised to n minus 2. I hope you are getting the trick. And same thing we are going to do on the right hand side also. So we are going to multiply right hand side by what? A raised to n minus 2 only, and this will be continued and so on. And over here we are going to multiply the seventh equation by a and the last equation by I, because that is what our left hand side is. So on the left hand side we are having c naught I, right? So again we have missed something here. Yes, the constant term over here is C naught I. So after comparison you will get C naught I is equal to AB naught. So over here the missing term is missing number, I will say it is C naught. So you are supposed to multiply this 8th equation by I, and if you multiply it by I, you will get C naught I at last, and that is what we want. Now we will add all these equations together, and if you add all them together, then we will get our required answer. Just I will take little bit down. So you can see these are our equations. So let me do the calculations over here, then you will understand how we are getting that f of a. So we have multiplied this 4th equation by a raised to n. Let me write the left hand side. So it is a raised to n. We'll write right hand side later on, plus. Now we are multiplying 5th equation by a raised to n minus 1. So it will be cn minus 1 a raised to n minus 1. Remember, we are adding them. Later on we'll add them. So here only I am writing plus. Now 6th equation will multiply by a raised to n minus 2. So it will be cn minus 2 a raised to n minus 2 plus. This will be continued, so on, and from the 7th equation we will get C1a, and from the last equation we will get C naught I. Now let us see what is the right hand side. So on the left hand side we got f of a. So our expected answer is on the right hand side we should get 0. So if we get 0 on the right hand side, it means all the terms should get cancelled out. So if that happens, then we are through. That is what we want to prove actually, that is f of a is equal to 0. So let us see what we are getting. So we are multiplying first term by a raised to n, so it will be a raised to n bn minus 1, the first term. Next is we are multiplying it by a raised to n minus 1, so it will be a raised to n minus 1 bn minus 2 minus a raised to n minus 1 multiplied by a will be a raised to n, so minus a raised to n bn minus 1 plus. Now from the 6th equation we will multiply it by, we have multiplied it by a raised to n minus 2, so a raised to n minus 2 bn minus 3, and minus over here what we will get, since we are multiplying by a raised to n minus 2, it will be a raised to n minus 1 bn minus 2. This will be continued, plus so on plus what we are going to get here now. 7th equation we are multiplying by a, right? So a b naught minus a square b1, and at last we will get minus a b naught. Now let us see which terms are getting cancelled out. So you can see this one and this one is definitely getting cancelled out. This one and this one is also getting cancelled out. So this will also get cancelled out somewhere here. This a b naught and this minus a b naught is getting out cancelled here. Now this also will get cancelled out somewhere here. Is that okay? So all the terms will get cancelled out, and therefore we are having 0 on the right hand side, and that is what we want, and therefore we will say that f of a is equal to 0, and therefore Cayley-Hamilton theorem is satisfied. So I hope till here it is fine. So these equations we got after comparing what, this is our left hand side actually, and this is our right hand side. So after comparison of this and this, we got these equations, and I have written here multiplying 4th by a raised to n, 5 by a raised to n, n minus 1, and so on, and by adding them you will get such kind of equations, and which will be equal to 0 at last. Okay, if you want I'll write it here, that this term gets cancelled out, this one and this one gets cancelled out, this one will get cancelled out somewhere here. I will make an arrow if you want. This and this gets cancelled out. Similarly this will get cancelled out somewhere here. Okay, and therefore we are getting 0, and that is what we wanted to prove. And now there are many applications of this Cayley-Hamilton theorem that we are going to discuss actually, and that applications are in practical number 2. So that's all for today's lecture. We'll stop here. Have a good day.